Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome in to another live stream here. Bear with me here. This is our first live stream after a little bit of a hectic event. I don't know. I don't really know what I want to call it. I don't really even want to think about it. But obviously the YouTube channel did get banned. It was a temporary ban. It wasn't a permanent ban. I want to make that clear. I'm about to come back with you guys here in just a moment. Just bear with me here. So we did obviously get banned, and now we're back. So thank you guys. Thank you guys. It's good to see you guys in the live chat. What's going on, guys? It's really nice to be on the first live stream back. So welcome in, everyone. We have Bitcoin sitting at 92,700, 92,800 on the hourly. Let's take a nice close-up look. We are producing a bounce off the $92,000 level, so that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Shout out to everybody tuning into this live stream today here while we are live. Shout out to everyone watching the recording. It's good to be back. The commies got us, but we're back. Shout out to James in the live chat, Abi Gandhi, Jim Bob. Shout out to Zeal DMV, Travis. Thank you guys very much. Keith, what's going on? Got Alberta in here. Welcome into the live stream, everyone. Smash up those likes as you are coming in. Fed cut 0.25. Is that the news? Is that official now? Has that been confirmed? I've got Polymarket open right here, showing us that they're currently pricing in no change for January. I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but I would imagine very accurate. Yeah, this is at 100%, so that's done. Usually you would use Twitter or something, but I'm using Polymarket. So 25 basis point cut, you know, kind of obviously what everybody was expecting. It did briefly flip to no change, and the 50 basis points vote never really got particularly high, only peaked at about 11%. So yeah, it was kind of obvious the whole time. And this really has a is gonna have to have an effect on what happens in January. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that in a little bit of time. But welcome on into the live stream, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to those of you smashing up those likes as you are coming in. Shout out to those of you tuning into this live today. Thank you all very much. Let's smash them up. Let's get those likes up to 50. I don't know how shot we are in the algorithm. I haven't really posted for a while, but we did get a request from the BroFi VIP chat to take a look at a particular coin. So we're going to be doing that in a little bit. I'll try and go in detail on that. But yeah, welcome on in, everyone. Just going to wait a couple minutes, let some more people kind of trickle in here. But, you know, here's where we are on Bitcoin, 92,900. It seems like there is a somewhat bullish reaction to this news. Or not. This just looks like a liquidity hunt, to be honest. But, I mean, to be fair, the announcement did only happen in the last 5-10 minutes. So it is entirely possible that the reaction to this news is just bullish and not more, which is good. That's exactly what we want to see. Not that it matters too much. I actually think Bitcoin on this chart is looking pretty sweet. I'm gonna cover why I think that is in a little bit, but we're just gonna give this another moment. Just want to catch up with the live chat here and see where we are, see who we got in here. Shout out to Nick USA. Am I missing anybody? I don't think I missed anybody yet. Ego says, Good to see you back. You're not the only one that got blocked. Every serious influencer got blocked as well. Yeah, YouTube has been going pretty heavy with the AI moderation. I think that's what got me as well. I can't tell you what got me because I don't fucking know. But it's yeah, I don't really know what the deal is with YouTube. And you know what? I'm gonna take this opportunity now to make something very clear. YouTube is not the main platform I'm interested in anymore. I always knew this would be a risk, but I've been on YouTube for 14 years, and it was hard to not feel disrespected after that. The fact that I couldn't even, like, and it wasn't just me, it was big creators too. The fact that I couldn't reach out to somebody, and the fact that creator support chat, I'm glad they were there. That's an improvement, you know, because that didn't exist before. But I was pretty shocked at how badly they handled it. So we've already been posting more content, and specifically more exclusive content on X right here. Obviously, BroFi is very much still going, and that's where I've been most active. Been posting a lot of analysis updates in there, much more than what this YouTube channel has seen. We're also on Rumble, and there's the free Telegram channel. So check them all out. I've simplified the description. It's not as hectic as it used to be. Yes, we'll get the DGen cam on. You're right about that. You are right about that. Let's go ahead and get the DGen cam on over here. So on the right-hand side, set Bitcoin up real quick. Just take a look at Bitcoin on the 1 minute. Just kind of see what's going on. It is up at 93K right now, so that's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet. It's up at 93K right now, so we'll see how this continues to kind of play out on this chart. But I'm liking the look of that. So let's start getting into this analysis here. Give those likes one more big push if you haven't done so already. Really do appreciate it. Shout out to a fool in the live chat. Todd, what's going on? Damn Crypto. Peter K, what's going on? Great to see these familiar names in the chat. News reports coming in that only one cut is being forecasted for next year. I mean, one cut is a little bit extreme. Bear in mind, Jerome Powell finishes his position in May. So May is currently 6 months away. And I definitely think we're going to see cuts after that. I'm pretty sure it's Trump that appoints the guy, right? So if Trump is appointing the guy, you know, there's going to be a lot of political give and take in that arrangement. So I'm pretty sure that we're going to see. I was looking at it earlier today because the housing market situation is really interesting, and it's looking pretty bad right now, but it does look like one of the situations that you can just kind of like cut your rates, you know, down and then kind of like wiggle your way out of the mess for another few years. And that's more or less what's been happening since 2008 anyway. So, you know, it's a big statement to come out and say that we think that's going to change now. You know, I wouldn't want to be so confident about that. You know, especially under Trump. Trump does still represent this kind of previous generation of politicians or presidents that are happy to, you know, just kind of, you know, balance the two sides, you know, QT and QE, you know, just balance the two sides and play the economy that way. That's been pretty consistent for a while. It just has. You know, and the new generation might not be much better because they might be communists. So, am I starting to cross? Am I starting to cross the line? Is the AI going to get me for this now? I think I'm going to wrap this up here. Let's just stop it here. We'll save it for another platform. This is not the free speech platform. Let's continue on with some Bitcoin analysis here. Let's just get into it. Thank you guys for smashing up those likes. Really do appreciate it. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin has managed to fall down to support at $92,000, roughly around here. And we've seen a pretty nice initial bounce off this level. Now, I need to see something quite substantial. I really need to see something that breaks above this $94,000 price area. This is really important. If Bitcoin is unable to break above this level, well, I'm open to the idea that Bitcoin can trade sideways and then do it. But, you know, we're kind of running out of good favor, you know? I don't want to say we're running out of good favor. I actually think we're looking pretty good, but I just think we need to seize these opportunities a little bit more than we've been doing, right? And I think you'll all kind of understand where I'm coming from when I say these things. You know, we need to see a little bit more material, you know, price developments kind of taking place here. And what that means for me is getting above this resistance level. And, you know, I really think it's going to be a pretty easy, you know, shot upwards from there. Getting up toward 97, 101, and even 107 further up, which I think 107 is going to be kind of the key level. I feel like there is a lot of compression happening here. Okay, we have started to form some sort of an ascending triangle now. So, you know, these are pretty bullish, and these have worked out in Bitcoin's favor quite consistently in my experience. So I'm very interested to see how this might develop. You know, we've really had 3, you know, attempts at this resistance level, and, you know, the picture is very clear. It's actually kind of like Tesla's chart, maybe not as good, but, you know, you kind of hit resistance, but you don't really crack into that level particularly well, and then you fall back below it pretty quickly. You capture support, set a higher low, come back in, and next time, you know, you do pretty well. I mean, the high that we set previously was 93,100. The next time we got up to 94,100. And then the time after that, yes, we set another higher low, but that's still good. It's only good. And then we ended up... One sec. And then we ended up setting an even higher high at 94,700. So we're setting higher lows, and every time we get into this resistance zone, we're performing better. And I think that really counts for a lot. And we're going to cross an interesting threshold when, you know, 2 days, 7 hours is what we did previously. We're at a day right now. You know, like, I mean, exceeding that time frame as well would be good. And that's why I said I'm open to a little bit of sideways, because honestly, like, there's not really a lot of space left in this ascending triangle anyway. And I really think that this could end up working for Bitcoin. The reason I'm saying this is because the S&P looks pretty sweet. You know, I mean, the S&P is going through whatever it's going through, and it is a weird time for the stock market. But, I mean, we're holding really well despite all of that, I think. I think we're doing really well, you know? We could have been seeing a lot of fear in this market, you know, with everything that's been going on, but we haven't. It's been holding steady, and this steady movement that we've been getting is coming inside of a very bullish environment, inside of a very, like, a bullish macro trend, especially for the stock markets and so on. But I struggle to see how, if the S&P pops here, and it's now, you know, it's been stuck in this range, you know, above, you know, call it 6,600. It's been stuck, like, in this area for, you know, closing in on 3 months. This is effectively a 3-month consolidation zone. And the reason I feel pretty confident about calling it a consolidation zone is really, you know, you measure this from, you know, this low up to this high. This is a 6% range. And most of the trading is not happening inside of a 6% range. Most of the trading happened inside of a 2.6% range. It's really not a lot, you know? I mean, the lower half, and now it's moving sideways in this upper half. But it's still just consolidating, no matter how you look at it. So I think it's looking pretty sweet, you know? I mean, this is what I want to see. This is what I want to see. And this is what tells me that, you know, honestly, I think Bitcoin, you know, the key reason it hasn't broken out yet is because the S&P 500 hasn't broken out yet. Shout out to big man in the live chat telling everyone to smash up the likes. Let's see if we can hit 50 likes on this live stream, guys. Thank you all very much. Really do appreciate it. And you guys already know. BroFi is up and running right here. We are still in early access. We've got new releases coming in very, very soon. But if you want to get direct access to me, you could do that by following the link in the description below. You've essentially got two choices, right? You can stay where you are. You know, a lot of people, might not be you, but a lot of people end up chasing, I'm putting my disclaimer up, they end up chasing coins that they see on Twitter. They don't have a plan. They don't end up withdrawing anything, and they don't even come out particularly far ahead after every cycle. Inside of BroFi, it might be different. There are no guarantees. You certainly might not make money. But we have seen members move in a direction where they start trading from a plan. Okay, this is really, really important. And this is what I'm really focusing on inside of this group. You need to know your risk per trade and per week. No blind entries. You need to know exactly why you're in a trade. This is so important. People sleep on this. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing. Withdrawals need to become part of a plan. They need to become scheduled. They need to become intentional. They need to become a part of your rhythm, not something that happens by accident when you get lucky. Okay, and that's the kind of difference that we're aiming to bridge inside of BroFi. We're not going to be successful with everybody. And if you think that this might be difficult or whatever, you're right. It is. It's really not easy. Anything that is easy is a scam. But if you want to get inside, we've got a beautiful community here. Our next weekly live show is happening tomorrow in about 24 hours. Those weekly shows are completely uncensored because I'm not on a communist platform. And they are very, very thorough. So get yourself inside if you are interested. It is only $100. Once again, there is no financial advice here and there's absolutely no guarantee of results. Trading and investing carry significant risk. You can lose all of your money. Please keep these risks in mind. But check it out if you are curious down there in the description. And bringing it back to the YouTube video now, the live stream here, that's Bitcoin in its current range. Now, if it does get that pop, we've already covered this extensively, but let's go over this for a quick recap again as well. Freedom to say what I want is awesome, right? Yeah, it is. It is. It's really nice because this kind of kills me doing this on YouTube, and I know it's not like gonna last forever. You know, I know this isn't like a forever thing, but I'll be very glad when it's over. That's for sure. Anyway, so 4-hour time frame. You know, I think that there is pretty easy potential for Bitcoin to travel quite swiftly higher if it manages to get a breakout. You know, that might not happen. Again, there are no guarantees at all. But I do think that we're in a pretty sweet position right now and potentially able to climb toward 107 if we get the breakout, just because I don't really see any particularly heavy reversal levels until 107. I think there are a few reversal levels. I think 97, 98 is one of them. I think 101 is another. But I think that the significant one that we need to kind of keep our eyes on is 107. And I'm also saying that because when we really triggered the sell-off triggered only because of this kind of kiss of death that we got up here. You know, this spike right here up in resistance. This is kind of what really triggered the big downfall. So, you know, psychologically, this is a pretty charged level in the market. And recovering this is going to do a lot to really change how people feel about the market. Now, there's something else that I want to show you. I'm going to take this degen chart to show this to you. And it's actually something that happened a good number of years ago now. It is something that happened in 2020. I want to draw your attention over to this. This is something that I only really observed today. But, and it's the first time I'm looking at it. You know, I haven't actually examined how much I agree with what I'm about to say. But I'm going to do that live with you guys right now. I mean, I'm just going to let you guys drop some thoughts in the comment section before I start talking. And let me catch up with the live chat here. Welcome into the live stream, everyone. It's really nice to see you guys here. I'm gonna have to claw my way back through this algorithm, but if you guys can smash those likes up, I would really appreciate it. Bill Brower says, I thought you were off YouTube, bro. Glad you're here. Yeah, I'm glad I'm here too, bro. I'm glad I'm here too. I think it's just gonna be a little bit of a grind. You know, I haven't posted for a while. Honestly, you know what happened? Yeah, I got the channel back, and I was like, you know what? Nah. Like, first of all, the market wasn't even moving, you know, but the other part was like, man, I just feel a little bit burnt, you know, from that. But I mean, market's moving. That's kind of what I was waiting for. You know, I was like, I'll just come back when the market starts doing something. So, you know, I mean, looking at these two charts, I mean, this is Bitcoin in the present on the left and Bitcoin historically on the right. I've been constantly saying that I think Bitcoin, you know, if it can break above this range right here, I think it's going to shoot up. That's what I've been saying constantly. And I think this is really important because if the market is able to produce an upward thrust like this, a big upward thrust like this, the chart is going to start looking a little bit like what happened in 2020. This was the recovery from the market crash after the pandemic really hit the West. And this chart is primed to look like that right now. It might not, yeah? I don't know. I don't see the future. But right now, man, we're like, it's kind of like eerie how similar it looks. Right? Like if we do something like that now, or even something a little bit more aggressive, it really starts looking like the recovery that we saw previously. And it's got a lot of the same characteristics. If we look at this in terms of characteristics, we punch in a low, and then we set a higher low. This is present day. This is what we're doing right now in 2025. But we look at what happened in 2020, and really it's the same thing. We punch in a low, and then we punch in a higher low. And it doesn't take a long time to do it in both instances, by the way. I just want to show you the time calculation, right? Because, you know, right now we are looking historically, right? So I got a different time frame on the chart. But if we go ahead and what have we done here? Hang on, let me change that back to present day. If we take a look at this on the right hand side on a smaller time frame, this starts looking so interesting. Okay, I can't do that for you. That's crazy. The chart just doesn't let me do it. But that's totally fine. It is basically like 3-4 days between, you know, the first low that the market sets and the second low. My God, everything is going wrong. Let me find that again. There we go. Yes. Okay, we're back. That was kind of annoying. It's very finicky. This is the low that we punched in. This is our higher low. They happen about 3 days apart. And if we measure what happened this time, again, very similar. You know, this happens about 10 days apart. So, you know, in terms of time frames, we're very much in the same kind of neighborhood. In terms of, you know, the way the chart looks, it's got the same starting pieces. In terms of how catastrophic the dump was, look, percentage-wise, we didn't match it, right? Percentage-wise in 2020, this was a 57. Percentage-wise now, this was a minus 25. It was so much lighter than what we saw 5 years ago. That was 5 years ago. Isn't that crazy? 5.5 years ago, actually. You know, it is quite a bit lighter, but the market is also quite a bit further ahead. And so the magnitude matters a little bit less. The fact that the chart is rhyming with history like this, that is interesting. And I'm not pinning hope on this right now. I'm not even pinning expectations on this right now because it really is quite early. But you guys know my stance. I've been incredibly consistent here, as always. I think that if Bitcoin is able to produce an upward thrust here, I think it's going to be pretty quick. And I think that that leg is going to start looking a little bit like this one here. So that is really, really interesting to me. And something I'm really, really going to be keeping an eye out for if we do produce that pump. And like I said, I feel like the S&P has given us that platform right now. If the S&P, you know, takes a dip, you know, and especially if it takes a kind of more significant dip, let's say a dip that looks, you know, like here's the S&P right now. You you know, if the S&P manages to fall, let's say back down to like here or here, like 67, 65, what is that? Yeah, 6,600, sorry. You know, into either of those kind of price zones, that would be pretty, that would definitely be, you know, a bit of an earthquake, you know, for Bitcoin. And it would probably have to put Bitcoin back toward the kind of mid $80,000 range. At this point, losing, you know, 89K also means that we're kind of losing this market structure that we've developed. I wouldn't say it's the end of the world if Bitcoin loses the market structure that it's developed, but it would be a setback. And it would be nice to not get a setback right now, especially with, you know, how well Bitcoin has been doing inside of this resistance box and how it's been doing progressively better each time. I really do feel like there is some reason to be optimistic here. Let's take a look at that degen time frame once again here on the 1 minute, because we are seeing a pump on Bitcoin. It looks like it's about to sweep these highs that it set right before we went live. So let's take a look at this here and see what ends up happening. Shout out to Todd saying that, I can't remember what you were referring to, but mentioning that BroFi is worth it. I do appreciate it. You were probably talking about something that I mentioned like 10 minutes ago. But really do appreciate it. So yeah, thank you. And speaking of BroFi, actually, we did get a request to look at the ICP chart from one of our members here. So inside of our BroFi VIP streams, we do cover requests, I'd say pretty extensively, that members have. And I'm going to do that right here on stream as well, because this was a request that came in like literally a few minutes before I went live today. But so yeah, the question is about if there is a potential floor, and I definitely see it. I'm thinking something that looks a little bit like that. And how do I change the color of this? Where's the, oh, there it is. And if I can just lower the opacity, that does look like a potential floor. Let's actually look at ICP against Bitcoin, because that's much more important in my opinion. And this is pretty bad. It kind of looks like Litecoin though, but Litecoin also looks pretty bad. I give Litecoin the benefit of the doubt because, you know, it's Litecoin, but ICP, I don't love ICP in the same way personally. I have to say, I mean, you know, like a steep downtrend like this, I mean, it can obviously go on forever. That's kind of what's happened already. But, you know, a steep downtrend like this, you know, you don't want to buy it on the pump, put it that way, right? Like, it's better to buy on red days. So that definitely seems interesting to me. But, you know, let's bring it back to the dollar chart. Keep going back. Okay, the dollar chart right here. And yeah, against the dollar, it definitely looks a lot stronger. Falling below this floor would probably mean Bitcoin falling below 80K. So I think the decision to invest in this is going to depend on if you believe that it would get dragged down with Bitcoin, and if you believe that Bitcoin is going to drop below 80K. Or 85 even, could really trigger some blood in ICP, just because it's an altcoin. So that's something I'd be looking out for. But let's take a look at this buy range. So to get up to some of these resistance levels, that's a 44%. To get up to the recent pump, that's a 3x. So that is pretty sweet. It's a 2x gain just to get up to some of the resistance that we were at only in July. Wow. So that's about like 5 months ago. So I definitely see good returns here if the market does wake up. You know, I think you know, it's going to boil down to, do you think the market's going to wake up? If it wakes up, do you think it's going to be new coins or pre-existing coins or both, right? Depending on the answers to this question, you can start fleshing out which coins you want to buy, if you want to buy any at all. Remember, everything carries risk. You can lose all of your money. But if that's what we're going for, if that's what we're thinking, then it's a case of, okay, well, which coin do you pick? And that's going to be a mix of, well, how much risk is in this coin? How much money might I make? If it goes wrong, again, how much would I lose? That question is also another flavor of how much risk is in this trade. These are the kind of considerations that you're going to make in these situations. And Yeah, and I think that can lead to a decision there. But I like it personally. I mean, I think I'm kind of good with the altcoins that I've purchased, but if I wasn't, yeah, I'd probably want to buy this one. I mean, this is nice. It's a nice level. I think, against Bitcoin, that's what I'm really interested in. Let me take another look at the Bitcoin chart. And obviously, that means against the dollar, I would want to wait a tiny bit more. I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, if I was really, and it depends, right? If I was early on, if I didn't have any allocation, I'd buy a little bit more aggressively at the beginning, but then a little bit less aggressively, when I've started to fill up my allocation. So yeah, against Bitcoin, I mean, it could keep sliding. I honestly don't know. I don't really want to speculate on that. Let's move on to Bitcoin dominance. That kind of helps us look at this. And, Bitcoin dominance has started to, potentially produce its next leg down. If this is the next leg down, then this is really, really, really nice developments. I feel, like this is a really nice development. It's nice and slow. There was a really nice kind of recovery, and now we're kind of, if we trend down like that, that's going to be pretty beautiful for this chart. And if that does end up happening, I mean, we are seeing, these gains bleed into, I mean, these losses in Bitcoin dominance, we are seeing this as a result of some of these gains from altcoins, right? Ethereum saw a really big breakout against Bitcoin here. It fell down to the support level that I was looking at, and from this kind of descending triangle or whatever we want to call it, and Ethereum got a really nice pump out of this range against Bitcoin. It's up by, about 2% here against Bitcoin, which is pretty sweet, because Bitcoin is also not doing too bad today on the day itself. So Ethereum saw a really nice bounce off this level. This is a support level that we had painted. It's not something that I traded. It's not something I would have traded, but it's actually pretty clean. It does look really, really nice with this bounce. And I like seeing the strength represented against the Bitcoin chart. That's the much more important chart in my opinion. And if this is a representation of a wider breakout, then I think other altcoins are going to start to look very, very impressive pretty soon as well. I hope. I would like to see that. That's what I'm kind of expecting. And if it doesn't happen, if it kind of loses this strength, then we're kind of just back to potentially trading sideways in a larger range. I don't know. I still don't think it's the end of the world. We're just going to have to wait to see it as this data continues to come in. I do have to say it's a little bit, I don't know, how do I say, entertaining watching Bitcoin, constantly smack its head on this $93,100 resistance level. I do think that it's not going to last particularly long at this rate. I feel like we might even see this break, maybe even in the next few minutes. Even, I don't know about moving down. It looks like it's been a pretty nice reaction so far after the Fed news. So I wouldn't really expect kind of lower than 92.3 right now, but we'll see. We'll see. We've touched the bottom. Parabolic Bitcoin is loading. Yeah, it could be, dude. It could be. I think it's possible. I definitely do think it's possible. But I don't know how much longer we will be live for. I might start wrapping this up here. Let me see if there's anything else I want to go through. If you do have any questions, now be the best time to drop it. The greatest time to drop it in the live chat. Let's take a look at gold. What's gold doing? Keep the Bitcoin chart actually. Look at this on the other side. What's gold doing? Yeah, gold's just kind of doing nothing after getting that breakout. It's just kind of floating sideways right now. Is YouTube shutting this channel down? Well, I hope not. They were certainly trying. But I know it wasn't intentional. I know it was just, AI made a mistake. But I hope that it that it stays around. I'm gonna do my best. But like I said, I'm not really treating YouTube as the main platform anymore. So if you do want to catch our other content, there's a lot being posted to X. We've already posted exclusive content that, even in the last week, I haven't been posting anything on YouTube. We have been posting on X and on the free Telegram channel right here. So check those links out as well if you're interested. And BroFi, $100 to join. Absolutely incredible price. Well worth checking out if you are interested. No guarantees whatsoever of profits if you do join that group. Please keep that in mind. It is still very, very risky. But that's where you can find our content. And of course, brilliant exchanges linked in the description down here as well between Bybit and Blowfin. Bybit remains, one of the best in the game, really the best in the game, to be honest. And they've been the best for a very, very long time. So that's pretty cool, worth checking out if you are curious. Obviously not if you're from a restricted region, but definitely worth checking out. You do get some pretty sweet bonuses when you start trading using this platform. They give you more free money that you can trade with. If you make any profits with that money, you can withdraw that money, so that's pretty sweet. And Blowfin's doing the same thing. Their bonuses are even more aggressive. They're easier to get the bonuses. So that's pretty nice as well. So check them out. Kelvin Brown, also brilliant OTC. They can settle into your bank accounts worldwide. I love them. I love Kelvin Brown. I've used them quite a bit. And they are phenomenal, so well worth checking them out as well. But of course, check out the disclaimers in the description. Don't access any products that you're not allowed to. But yeah, let's move it back to the price charts here. Let's see what questions we have here. Am I looking to automate strategies? Yes, but we'll save that discussion for a different video because that's pretty long. Keith says, yeah, long-term Ethereum's looking pretty good. I think so. I think Ethereum's been looking pretty good for a long time. And I think that, again, I mean, we really need to see what happens with this move. Like, if this move continues to materialize, especially, we need to break resistance. That's where we're at, right? With Ethereum, with Bitcoin, with the S&P, with stocks, we have resistance levels that we've been stuck under for some time. As long as we break those resistance levels, I think we're kind of back to trending in blue sky breakout territory for a while. I would love to see that happen. I would be absolutely very, very happy to see that happen. And until unless, we don't, as long as we're not, breaking significant support structures, which we're not doing, even with Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin did, but again, it still fell within the realms of a normal correction. So I was never panicking about this. Obviously, you guys are well aware of that. So yeah, that's going to be my take there. But we do have a little bit of a climb up on Bitcoin here. So we'll see how this continues to go, but probably not on this live, to be honest. I think I'm going to be wrapping this one up. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're back here where, we're going to be making content for as long as YouTube allows it, but definitely check out the other platforms, just in case YouTube does any funny business again. And it was a pleasure. I'll see you all in the next one.